I will tell my friends on both sides of the aisle that regardless who the American people choose as their next president, Israel remains America's indispensable and strong ally in the Middle East.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington and will address a joint session of Congress tomorrow. This as Capitol Hill remains divided over Israel's conduct in the war.
I don't think he should be here. I don't think Netanyahu should be here.
Let's bring in House Minority Whip Katherine Clark. Congresswoman, thanks for being here. What do you expect to hear from Netanyahu tomorrow, and how will House Democrats handle it? Do you expect protests from your colleagues?
I just met with the parents of Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, and I hope that I hear from the Prime Minister that he is going to bring the hostages home, that he is going to rush aid with the urgency it deserves to the people of Gaza, and that he is going to end this war. That's what I hope to hear from him tomorrow. And I think that we will have protests here in the Capitol. They are already starting. People have the right to do that. But I hope that they will remain nonviolent and calm.
Do you expect House Democrats to protest inside of the chamber? I
do not. I think that we are clear that there are, we have rules of decorum. We are being visited by a head of state, and we will treat that with the sobriety that it deserves.
Do you think it's a mistake to have the Prime Minister here?
Well, I think it's really too bad that we had the president of Kenya just recently, and Speaker Johnson couldn't find time to have an African leader, but has put this, speech in when it was so close to completing our work on appropriations bills. But Israel is an ally, and we will hear from the Prime Minister tomorrow.
Turning to the presidential race, Vice President Harris now out on the campaign trail, the presumptive nominee. Is there any talk in among your colleagues about having someone else run, or is there almost universal acceptance and confidence in having the vice president as the presumptive nominee?
Yeah, there is universal, not just acceptance, we are excited. Kamala Harris has just lit up and energized this race. She is the leader that we need for this moment. I mean, really, if you could design a presidential candidate, it would be Kamala Harris. Attorney General of the largest state in the country, a U.S. Senator, a vice president. She has already just electrified voters. 58,000 volunteers in the first very few days of this election. $100 million in donations, swelling of small grassroots donations. We are very excited to get to work, get on the ground, talking to voters about Kamala Harris and making sure that she is the 47th president of the United States.
Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a close ally of yours, was involved in the discussions with President Biden and his aides about the decision to leave the presidential race. Do you believe that House Democrats really did have a role to play in nudging the president towards that decision?
We are so grateful to President Biden. I know there were many conversations with him, but what a patriotic and selfless act to step aside, to rise up and endorse your vice president. There aren't too many people who have that kind of power. But it isn't a surprise from Joe Biden. That's who he is. He's known for his courage and his grit and his incredible years of service. He will go down as one of our most effective presidents, and we are glad that we have been here for him and get to continue our work together until the end of his term.
And finally here, Congresswoman, in Washington, this is the season of mentioning names as the vice president considers her options for running mate. I know you believe it's her decision and hers alone to make, but any names you would mention as good possibilities, strong options for VP?
I trust Kamala Harris to restore women's rights, to defeat Donald Trump. I'll trust her to make this pick as well.
Are you open to being considered?
I don't think that's going to happen. I like my life right here in the House.
No, you never know. Then that wasn't a firm no. Katherine Clark, the House Minority Whip. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.